Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture. He's Adam Cleary from WhatCulture, and we are here in the immediate aftermath of Survivor Series to tell you what went down. Adam Cleary, immediate emotions after Survivor Series.
Well, the show was brilliant, but we'll get to that. I just want to take a quick moment to say how it feels to have been not just a part of it, Wilborn, but the winning factor in what will go down as the single greatest underdog victory in wrestling history. Simon Miller is a clown.
Now, before you get pelters in the comment section for calling Simon Miller, quite rightly what he is, a clown,
yeah.
Explain as to why that is the case.
Oh, we did Ups and Clowns, the competition me and Miller were having, the little friendly little rivalry we were having on this particular live stream. NXT versus the main roster every time SmackDown or Raw won one of the inter-brand matches. Simon would get a point. Every time NXT won one, I would get a point. Yes, you're right. That is a handicap match, and yet, if you tot up the scores over the night, NXT won 4 of the matches, SmackDown won 2, and Raw won 1. So or, as it's known, 4-3. So Simon Miller now has to present an episode of Ups and Downs dressed as a clown.
And an early indication suggests that is going to be SmackDown Ups and Clowns on Saturday, correct?
Just sounds good, doesn't it? Just sounds good.
Also, actually, we'll get to the cherry on the icing on the cake when we get to that final decision in the main event of the night. But things weren't looking good as we started on the pre-show. There was a big 10-team inter-brand tag team battle royal thing that was inexplicably not won by the Street Profits, who we all just went, oh, when it got down to like the final few with like the OC and stuff in there. It wasn't won by the Street Profits, it was won by Rudolph.
Yep.
Okay. Right, let's move swiftly on.
I would say there's a few situations in the evening where WWE's absolute flat-out denial to ever call an audible was present, because there were a number of decisions which they couldn't really have predicted the unpopularity of probably going into the night, but were so apparent as the matches were going on, and yet, like Bobby Roode does not need to win that tag team match. He went, we'll just, you guys go over, we'll just do it. Like, everyone's so afraid of going against what the line was. Because obviously they built these long-term complex storylines. They couldn't dare throw a spanner in the works on the fly.
We didn't even get a caterpillar from Otis.
We did. He did the thing.
Well, he did the... Didn't finish the caterpillar. Right, let's move on to the Cruiserweight Championship match that came next. It was still sort of inter-brand. It was the 24-year-old piece of gold, Lio Rush, taking on Akira Tozawa and Kalisto. Thankfully, though, NXT got on the board with Lio Rush getting the victory.
Was it definitely Kalisto?
That's what my notes tell me.
Yeah, just because Lucha House Party came out with the tag team match, and I went, I bet you 5 you can't tell me which 2 those are.
Grand Met League was one of them, I think.
I have a 5 now, is basically what I'm saying. Anyway, the one who wasn't in the tag team match, it was nice, this, because the integration they've done with the Cruiserweight Championship on NXT has made it feel like a really important thing again. They've weirdly started calling it the NXT Cruiserweight Championship while it retains the big W logo on it. So it's clearly, I don't know, they had
armbands.
Yeah, the law with it's quite weird at the minute, but it was a good match. It was.
That triple Spanish fly thing with all of them was great.
Basically, 205 Live was producing absolutely sensational wrestling matches that nobody was watching. So I'm very glad that at least some of that is now starting to segue onto NXT in a spot where people are going to watch it. And I know it's still the pre-show, but that was, 8 minutes they got? That's about 3 minutes longer than they were getting previous to this, so things are looking up, I guess.
No surprises for guessing which of the previously announced interbrand matches was going to be shoved to the pre-show. It was, of course, the tag team match, because tag teams are stupid. It was the Viking Raiders taking on Undisputed Era, taking on the New Day.
Yes, it is.
And... I mean, you could have made an argument for almost any team winning this.
It was a difficult one to call this. I mean, when we were going through the predictions for the night, I mean, I thought that, you suggested that Undisputed Era might get like a steal it win where, somebody to finish it, they throw them out of the ring and pin it, but then at the same time, you can't see them burying either of the guys in the New Day at the minute, and the Viking Raiders are finally on the crest of a wave with something. We couldn't see them taking the pinfall either. So, given that they had War Games last night and they were shuffling it onto the pre-show where nobody would see it, kind of lets them get away with the fact that, Undisputed Era have had the greatest weekend in their careers, aside from when they won all the gold the other week. But now they can kind of get away with that. I think they can absorb a loss on a pre-show the day after War Games, probably better than the New Day or the Viking Raiders could. So
Viking Raiders hitting the Viking experience for the victory there. Right, let's move on to the main card now.
Wait, so that's the right way around as well, is it?
I think so.
Nowadays, their current name, their finisher is named after their old selves.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Let's
The
move on.
Viking War Radiant Experience
Yeah,
machine.
they kept chanting war as well. No one. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Main card time. We started off with a 5-on-5 women's elimination match.
This was good.
This was good stuff.
This was good. This was really, 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 really good. I've made the point on NXT Ups and Downs and all the podcasts that there's kind of a problem with them trying to promote for Survivor Series and for War Games. Like, you all hate each other so much, we must put you in this unforgiving, hellish structure where bodies are on the line and nobody's ever going to walk away the same. Then the next night, oh, by the way, can you just be my buddy in this big match?
We're mates now.
We're mates now. So, yeah, it's a bit of a leap of logic. Triple H desperately trying to help Rhea Ripley through the announcement of this by, like, sometimes you go... Rhea Ripley's like, I pick, because obviously I respect them a lot now, I pick Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. Like, sometimes when you go to war, you respect your adversaries. Yeah, basically.
So, yeah, no.
The match was excellent. Just taking away the slightly confusing build with War Games, the match was sensational.
Bit weird that they had Io Shirai and Candice LeRae taken out of the match because they were unable to continue, although that is a bit of storytelling from War Games, I suppose.
Yeah, it was kind of an odd one. I'm not sure whether or not this is going to be presented as a clever ruse on the part of the women from NXT or whether it's just they were really hurt, too hurt to continue, and then they weren't.
They got much better very quickly, I think, as Jerry Lawler said.
Yes.
But there was, prior to that, a lovely spot with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane just staring each other down, and Carmella coming in and going, hello! And then they just beat her up for a bit, and then they still had their back and forth.
It was teased on NXT that when they had the big brawl on the Go Home show, they did briefly look at each other, but they were cut off immediately by Nikki Cross banging everyone with a trash can lid.
Yes.
The match itself was great. Like, I think there's virtually nobody in it other than the names you might expect who've come out looking anything other than brilliant. Like Dana Brooke, what did she do? Even Lacey Evans has pinned Charlotte.
Yes.
That's a statement from that. Might have been an assist from Asuka with the green mist, but Lacey Evans can now say she has a pinfall victory over Charlotte. And given that they were brave enough to let Rhea Ripley pin Charlotte not 2 nights ago, this is brave. I mean, given that people throw the Reigns labels at Charlotte, like, oh, so protected, so pushed, she's really helped 2 people out there.
Yeah, and to update you on Mohammed Asuka, I think officially,
she walked out.
She just said, sod this, I'm not doing it anymore.
It does say that, yes.
And just left. The final pairing, by the way, after they got rid of, thank God, Natalya, it was Sasha Banks versus, Phil smiling behind the camera there, Sasha Banks versus Rhea Ripley. It looked for a split second like we were going to get a submission victory for Sasha Banks. When she locked Rhea Ripley in the bank statement. But back down came a suddenly miraculously well again Io Shirai or Candice LeRae, or just people who can probably fight through their injuries. They come down, they interfere a little bit, not really distract the referee, because the referee could see them pulling.
There's no disqualifications either by the looks of it, because he did see her pull her out, so it was an odd one. Io hit an absolutely sensational?
Yeah.
That's a slip, isn't it? Did a springboard dropkick into Sasha, which went into the ripcord, and then boom, 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley has pinned on Friday Charlotte Flair, on Saturday Shayna Baszler, and now on Sunday Sasha Banks.
Not a bad few days, is it really? Right, let's move on and talk about the next match. It was a match that I was really looking forward to, and I think a lot of people have been sleeping on. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roderick Strong. So the United States champion, the NXT North American champion, and the Intercontinental champion.
Again, brave booking. We'll just get straight to the finish here. Roddy Strong wins. He pins Shinsuke Nakamura in what we thought would be the finish to the tag team match, where like AJ Styles is about to pin Nakamura, Roddy just comes in, throws him off, and takes the pin for himself. We thought that there for the tag team match, a classic Undisputed Era tactic, but Roddy Strong beats the Intercontinental champion and the United States champion in one match. That is huge booking.
And I really, really enjoyed this match. A lot of people, accuse Shinsuke Nakamura of not really being that bothered anymore and just thinking about surfing all the time.
He was great.
He was really invested in this really hard-hitting match and an entertaining encounter. Worth going back and watching if you haven't seen it. But yes, Roderick Strong means Team NXT, the NXT brand, took an almost unassailable lead just a couple of matches into the pay-per-view. And next up, we had the NXT Championship match. Pete Dunne, of course, won that triple threat featuring Killian Dane and Damian Priest yesterday at War Games, challenging Adam Cole, who just has always wrestled. Anytime there's been a wrestling match, he's been in it. Jesus Christ.
I watched NXT last night. There was it almost sort of spoiled this match a bit, knowing that there was going to be one of the men going forward into tonight to face Adam Cole, because Damian Priest is nowhere near the finished article here for the title picture, and certainly not to go into a main roster pay-per-view to do it. You could see, maybe a takeover match at some point. Killian Dane, for all I like the guy, and he's really bounced back from that kind of hit-and-miss Riddle feud, there's no real interest in seeing him versus Adam Cole. So Pete Dunne was always going to be the winner of this, and even if it was a little bit predictable, I don't care. The match was... I mean, these guys have done a takeover match before, and it's been excellent. And this was above that.
I just had a little moment there where I remembered the Panama Sunrise on the apron.
Yes.
Rough.
Yeah, obviously Adam Cole hit a Panama Sunrise on the steel against Kevin Owens last night. He hit a Panama Sunrise on the apron against Pete Dunne. But then got in the ring, he snapped his fingers, went for the bitter end, counted out of it, got him in the back of the head with his knee. 1, 2, 3. Another absolutely brilliant match.
Next up, we had the Blue Universal Championship with the Fiend Bray Wyatt taking on Daniel Bryan. Now, of course, we had the red lighting back. It wasn't seemed... I don't know whether it's just the lack of Seth Rollins in this match. It wasn't as... I wasn't as... annoyed by this as I have been.
The problem with the Fiend is it's very, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of offense absorbed. You're going to get a lot of scary faces, and you're going to get the red light. And if the opponent isn't able to add a new dimension to that with what they're going to bring to the match, there's nothing new there, and it's just here are the same bad horror tropes again. And Rollins was not bringing anything to this feud at all, just whining and cowering and being scared. Bryan felt like a breath of fresh air, like he was selling for the Fiend just as much as he was being sold for. It was a really, really, really tough... How long was it? I was curious.
About 10 minutes.
They only got 10. It felt a lot longer, but not in a way that dragged. Like, it felt a lot longer. They felt like they got a lot more in it than just a 10-minute match.
Yeah, really enjoyable. In the end, of course, the Fiend winning. You get them.
Another great counter finish.
He got it out of nowhere. Yeah, he'd been hit with a few running knees throughout the match from Daniel Bryan to get some near falls. But Daniel Bryan was going for some offense, got caught, dragged down
into the mandible claw, into a pin.
Into a pin, basically.
Phil, you like Mick Foley. Did he ever do the mandible claw into a pin? I thought it was always like a...
No,
but it was wonderful. He had one of Bryan's arms just trapped underneath his leg, so he couldn't do anything,
just
basically.
Snatches the life out of them, doesn't he?
Like that.
Like that.
Let's move on to the men's 5 elimination match. Match tonight. It was all a bit rubbish at the start.
In the immediate afterglow, you know when you've just had sex and everything's great, in the immediate afterglow of this pay-per-view, that men's 5 was the best I've ever had. I may get some distance on this and change my mind, but that felt like the best match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, there was some dodgy... I mean, when we started off with Walter being eliminated first, by Drew McIntyre, it was a little bit disappointing. And, there was a lot of speculation going into this that maybe Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens was going to switch sides or anything like that. None of that.
It's never that interesting, is it?
Yeah, no, they just stuck to their brands. And Randy Orton just Randy Orton'd, didn't he?
We said at the start, Street Profits should have won that tag match and they should have called it audible on the fly. Walter, bear in mind who he was in the ring with, right? Ciampa, Reigns, Rollins, Strowman, Galloway, Ricochet, all these other names, everyone was chanting for Walter. Everyone in that arena was chanting for Walter.
They had lots of big lad segment early.
Everyone was chanting for Walter at the start of the match, during the match, and they knew the way it was laid out, we've got to pin him first then. And nobody went, I'll take that one.
Damien Priest
should have just gone, I'll take that. I know we've got stuff, I'll just take that first one. Because it was just, there was bull... Phil's giving me a look, there was bull chance throughout the thing. Sorry about that, Phil.
Anyway, should we move on?
Noted.
Randy Orton, yes. He got eliminated by Matt Riddle and then turned round and then RKO'd Matt Riddle.
Yeah, so Matt Riddle gets to pin Randy Orton.
And then King Corbin was wonderful in all
gets
this.
to pin Matt Riddle.
Braun Strowman, for I think the second year out of the last 3 years, just gets eliminated by count out.
Yeah.
Just protect him a little bit.
It was an odd one, this, because there's loads of stories they could do coming out with this, because Kevin Owens had the opportunity to eliminate Ciampa. Him and Shorty G were both down. He frog splashed Shorty G, and I can't believe I'm saying that, and pinned him. But then Ciampa was the one who eliminated Kevin Owens. He got really opportunistic, caught him in the ropes, hit him with a DDT, and pinned him. So if Kevin Owens does want to reappear on NXT this week, there's a very obvious in for who he gets to go to first.
King Corbin hit a beautiful-looking end of days to eliminate Ricochet. We had...
He's a real-life superhero.
Indeed. Lots of infighting between the teams. Lots of pushing and
Roman
shoving.
and Corbin were all over the place. There was even Asuka and Charlotte in the women's match as well. There's loads of little narrative threads they can pick up again from these big 5-5 matches if they want to.
Indeed. So we got towards the end. Tommaso Ciampa got eliminated by Seth Rollins. Really disappointing that, getting eliminated by Seth Rollins in there. But it did allow for a final 3 of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns,
and Keith Lee, who they have made look like an absolute goddamn star with this, because it was like, well, we're brothers, aren't we? So we'll just go beat him up. And he took the pair of them to their absolute limit. The Spirit Bomb spot on Roman Reigns, where he bounced him about 3 foot up in the air. And Roman, fair play to him, gets himself rotated around. So he lands on his back, then bounces up and lands on his shoulders for the pinfall. And I sense the crowd were a little bit unhappy with Roman winning that, but they've made Keith Lee look a megastar.
Yeah.
A megastar in defeat there.
That is, certainly how you look, get something out of being defeated. Keith Lee did eliminate Seth Rollins in there as well, but yes, of course, Roman Reigns, as is his one, wins via the spear out of nowhere. Really good stuff, though. Right, let's move on to the WWE No Holds Barred Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar. 7 minutes dead, this, and just the perfect 7 minutes.
I'll just stop you there. It was Brock Lesnar beating up Rey Mysterio for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then Dominic and Rey Mysterio hitting Brock Lesnar in the balls for 1 minute. Then a double 619, a double splash, and then when you thought, oh, they're actually going to do it, Brock kicked out with that. Threw Dominic off the second rope about 2/3 of the way across the ring, then caught Rey Mysterio in an F5 and won. The perfect Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, ideal. I think you could just tell, you said yourself on the stream, how much he must enjoy working with someone like Rey Mysterio.
That was Phil actually giving him his due. Phil said that.
It was a really, really well-worked little match for something that we all kind of anticipated, but with the added element of no holds barred. Dominic ran down with the towel after watching his dad get mutilated for 5 minutes, and then Brock Lesnar went, "No, I'm just going to kill you. I'm just going to kill you."
Hell of a splash and 619 from Dominic, by the way.
Good stuff. They had the pipe. Dominic got a chair as well in there at some point. But yes, unfortunately, Rey Mysterio got caught coming off the top rope. F5, 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar is still your WWE champion.
Also, as was pointed out on the stream, that's Brock Lesnar now sold more for Dominic than he did for Kofi Kingston at any point.
Indeed. Right, main event of the evening was Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch versus Bayley. Not only to see who is the best women's champion, but also at that point it was 3-3.
It was 3-3.
3-3 to see who was going to be crowned.
Clown.
Given the crown.
Who was going to be clowned.
Who was going to be given the crown and who was going to be given the clown.
It's difficult to talk about this match because I think once we watch it back, we've always said when we do these immediate reaction videos, we are kind of in the immediate afterglow having watched it with our dear pals, and Phil's there as I'm hugging you, Phil, from over here. We always have such a good time watching it. We think, that was bloody brilliant. Me and Andy even watched one of the Saudi Arabia shows at home once and went, do you know what? That was such a good time. Then came into work the next day and was like, that was dreadful. And we were like, we were good. I will say, we've had a great time watching that, but I imagine when we watch that match back, it will be found wanting a lot. A lot of the spots just didn't work. A lot of the timing was off ever so slightly. Bayley, in particular, seemed to miss a lot of her cues, and it just... I'm sure it was probably laid out very nicely, and it shouldn't detract from your enjoyment of it, because it was fairly good, but it just... Given what we'd seen in the night already, it didn't feel like they delivered enough as main eventers.
And the pacing was a little bit weird. All the other matches, especially
so quick,
especially coming off the back of the 5-on-5 and the Brock versus Rey match, it was just an electric sort of 20 minutes, half an hour segment with all that. And then they had to try and kind of slow it down before they could build to a big finish, and that kind of zapped all the energy out of the crowd, you sense. It wasn't to the level of there was constant CM Punk chants, but there was a smattering of noise in there. But, let's talk about the finish. We had Shayna and Becky on the outside. Shayna throwing Becky off her onto and over the announce table, basically, which left Shayna Baszler and Bayley in the ring.
There's only one outcome there, isn't there?
Snatching her, getting her in that...
Snatch a goddamn life out of her. Just snatch the... goddamn life
She
out
got
of
her in the
clutch.
The clutch.
The clutch.
Got her in that clutch, which I can never remember the name of.
Just the clutch.
And Bayley was fighting out of it, and then just seemingly out of nowhere.
It was a bit of an odd one, because I've seen, obviously, Baszler's done this on NXT TV and Takeovers, where they kind of do a bit of a hope spot in the finish, whereby somebody basically looks like they're going to go, and then, they're going to fight out of it. But then right as they're about to either get the ropes or get out of it, she pulls them back in, and the tap's very quick from there. Whereas this one, she sort of wore Bayley down, and just as it looked like Bayley was about to start trying to get back to herself, she said, actually, you know what, I can't be arsed. Tap, tap, tap. It was a bit of an odd one.
And what did that mean?
That meant it was 4-3 to me, and Simon Miller has to wear a big foam nose and a rainbow wig.
And what could we see as she Shayna celebrated?
And right as Shayna Baszler crawled off Bayley with her music ringing and her belt being handed to her, wouldn't you just know it, the camera angle over her shoulder showed a sign in the crowd that just said, Simon, give this a down.
What?
And do you know what?
I think you will.
I think you will.
What did you think of Becky Lynch post-match beating down Shayna Baszler and leg dropping her through the
It's an
table?
odd one as a decision from creative because obviously they want the main roster to go out looking strong. But they got battered across the night. Like it was 4-2 to 1. Now we said the most likely outcome was probably NXT 3, Raw 2, SmackDown 2. So it's like the main roster has won in a way, but obviously NXT was the strongest individual brand. And I don't know, it was kind of very confusing the way they did it. Very confusing.
Raw sucks, basically. Can't wait for them to completely forget about brand warfare.
Well, I was going to say, Raw got a clean sweep last year, and nothing came of it, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter. But all in all, a very entertaining Survivor Series.
Very entertaining Survivor Series, yep.
Yeah, good all that. And can't wait to see Simon Miller dressed as a clown. Really looking. Also, Rey Mysterio dressed as Doink.
Yeah, really, yeah, we forgot to mention that. Rey Mysterio came out as Doink. Don't know why.
Let us know your thoughts on Survivor Series, though, and Simon Miller dressing as a clown in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to What Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. It's been a good night, this.
It's been absolutely brilliant.
I enjoyed that. You can follow us all on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. You can follow our lovely editor, Phil Chambers, at PhilMyChambers on Twitter. You can follow Adam Cleary at
Adam Cleary, Clery.
You can follow me and my wonderful moustache at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all, as I said, at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, this has been What Went Down at Survivor Series. My thanks to the non-clown Adam Cleary and the clown Simon Miller. Can't wait to see what he looks like. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Greatest underdog victory in wrestling history.